Thanks for watching City Council Comments. I'm Steve Ericson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the February 4th and the February 18th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Here we are again.
I hope we're ushering out the cold pretty soon because we keep getting these little waves of cold, but then it warms up pretty quick.
We did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
Super cold snap Wednesday, gorgeous weekend.
Yeah.
This weekend, they said it's going to be really cold, but look at the weekend. It's going to be 40 again or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then next week I'm noticing the same thing back into the 20s. It's like, spring is coming though. We're almost to March.
It's February 20th. You know what? We can do this. We're close.
Yeah, and Snowflakes has wrapped up. We had lots of events for that. We had a new crowning of a new Miss Coon Rapids.
We did. Coon Rapids gal, Leah Mao. She, Coon Rapids High School, the whole thing. She was a former Miss Coon Rapids Outstanding Teen. Yeah. She's really into community service. She was NHS through high school, so always very involved. And she's going to be a great Miss Coon Rapids for us.
All right.
We also crowned a new Miss Outstanding Teen, and I wish I had the name here. I didn't think about bringing it.
Okay, but as far as the Leah Mao, you said she has both titles, or had both titles. Yep. Actually. She's only the second person to do that, I believe, is what I read. So that's quite an accomplishment as well.
Well, that's interesting. That hadn't occurred to me. Yeah, our last Miss Coon Rapids was also a Miss Coon Rapids Outstanding Teen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened often, but congratulations to her, and she'll be on to represent our community. I imagine we'll see her in the parade as well.
Absolutely. And our last one went all the way to Miss Minnesota, so or became Miss Minnesota.
Yeah, so look at that. All right, let's jump into business here. February 18th council meeting we want to talk about first. We had two public and assessment hearings related to street reconstruction because before you know it, they'll be back out there repairing the roads.
Right. You got to get all the I's dotted and the T's crossed early so you can get out for bids. And so this was a matter of Mr. Hanson, our city engineer, presented the projects, presented what streets are going to be done, and the scope of the work. And then this was an opportunity for the residents impacted to express if they had concerns with the project. And we sometimes see more people than other times. This one we had a lot more people in the room than other projects, and I think part of it is because there was some, there's a school bus or there's a school there, so there's a school route, a lot of extra traffic. There was one of the projects is a townhome development, and there was some confusion over who was getting assessed. One person thought it was literally just him, and it's actually going to be every single unit in that townhome complex will pay towards that project. So there are a few objections, but I think we got through them. And it's 16 sections of streets, so I'll spare you going through the list.
Yeah, but if anyone's interested, they can find it online on the city's website and read all the documentation. And certainly something that's not fun, but something that is a must. And every so often, people's streets will be redone, correct?
Well, absolutely. And they monitor things like water main breaks. And when you kind of reach this point where, you know what, we've been out there repairing that water main a number of times. Yeah. Next time we do the street reconstruction, we're replacing the water mains. So that's happening in part of these projects, and that comes out of the water fund, which is an enterprise fund. And then everything that's being done is being done to a new standard that was established for last year's construction. Okay. The asphalt going in is a little bit thicker. Instead of grass seed, it's sod along impacted areas. It's just a little bit more complete when it's done.
All right.
And it should last longer.
And there's a max assessment for a property owner, right? Is it around $2,000?
So $2,134. And if the city is doing the street in front of your house, you literally don't have to do anything. You should be involved in the open house when you meet with the contractor. If you have some landscaping things, or if you have sprinkler heads or anything you want them to know about. I've also seen residents say, hey, you know what? There's a low spot out in the street in front of our house where water pools, and they go, oh, well, that's great to know. We missed that one. We'd like to make sure we correct that.
Yeah.
So, but if you do nothing at all of a sudden next year, it's just going to show up on your tax bill. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And it'll automatically get divided out over 10 years at like less than 3% interest. I think the interest rate is 2.75% or something.
Okay.
So it's very affordable, very painless. And, or you have the opportunity to come in before June and pay it in full and pay no interest at all.
All right. So these projects will be moving forward, and construction will take place this summer.
Yes. Yeah. So one is the project. It was like 16 street sections. And then the second project that he came in and talked about had some Minnesota state aid routes. And it's the street that wraps around the Cub and Walmart up there by Riverdale Crossing. Okay. The street's in terrible shape. We wanted to do it a year ago or even 2 years ago. But we were trying to incorporate a roundabout in there. You know, we had a big traffic study done by SRF, and they recommended a roundabout up there. Everybody up there said, that's a great idea, but it was going to cost us, because we were going to have to use condemnation proceedings, it was going to be like $1 million additional, and you just can't justify that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be reconstructing the street up there this year, and then there's 2 other segments, Crooked Lake Boulevard by Morris by Elementary, that segment and that frontage road, and then 113th Avenue by the Fire Station 3, between Crooked Lake Boulevard and like Cheapskate, Coon Rapids Boulevard there.
That'll be a good one.
Yep. Yeah, that's another busy road.
Yeah.
And in that project, there will be some sidewalks added. There will be a sidewalk added there, some trail connections. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to jump ahead as long as we're talking about street reconstruction. We had a feasibility report and ordered a public hearing and assessment hearing for street reconstruction. This is project 20-3. We were just talking about 20-1 and 2. So this is another one, right?
This is this the one up by Blaine on
Blaine,
University?
yep.
All right, I don't know them by the number.
Yeah. So we didn't have the public hearing yet for that project,
Right,
correct?
and the reason that is Blaine's taking the lead on that construction, because it's literally that little end of University Extension that runs between Blaine High School and some townhomes that are located in Coon Rapids. Okay. So there will be a public hearing and an assessment hearing for everybody on that, but it's primarily impacting those townhomes there in Coon Rapids. But Blaine's the lead project on it, so that assessment hearing will be, I believe, April 7th or sometime out there.
Okay, but residents that are impacted by that have been notified about that as well?
Correct. Oh. Yep.
All right. Council considered a resolution approving plans and specs and ordering ad for bids. This is for our annual street maintenance program, as long as we're on the topic of street construction.
Yeah, and I think there's like 22 communities or something. There's a lot of communities involved. Coon Rapids is the lead agency on it. And we partner with all of them. So when we go out for bids for our fog sealing, seal coating, striping, all of those things, we can say we have a lot to do between all these communities. So we can get more favorable bids and saves everybody some money. And it's primarily for us, it's fog sealing. We're going to be doing a bunch of cul-de-sacs, and I don't remember how many miles of road.
Okay.
But
all right. That's another annual thing that happens here in the city.
Absolutely.
All right. I jumped over one of the most important things we wanted to talk about. We'll go back to that now. That's a resolution approving plans and specs for Port Riverwalk Phase 2 streets and utilities. And we got some big news this week, right?
Yes, we have some big news. We've been trying to get that closed. Centra Homes, essentially purchased it from us last year. Yeah. But we haven't been able to close on it because they keep finding, not they, Centra, but the county title folks keep finding little issues with the title work. And so we've had to vacate all these different properties and vacate all these assessments, or not assessments, but easements. And we finally got a clear from the county. It's like, everything looks good. Should be able to close February 21st. And literally while we were sitting here waiting to record, I got a text from our community development director, and they've got closing docs to sign because they're planning on closing it tomorrow.
All right.
Which means Centra Homes will own it, and they're going to start getting basements in this year. They're planning on taking about 3 years to build it out.
Okay.
That was the long way to describe. And what this was going out for bids now to get the streets and the rest of the infrastructure in for the construction down there.
All right. But the big news is that the houses are going to be hopefully going up this summer. At least the beginning houses.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of activity down there, as we just talked about. They're also reconstructing Coon Rapids Boulevard in that same area this year. So there's going to be it's going to be dramatic, the changes down there.
All right. Yeah. Well, stay tuned. We'll document those as we go here. All right. Council considered a resolution accepting plans and specs. This is for miscellaneous trail reconstruction. We have a couple different parks that are going to see some upgrades.
Yeah. So Woodcrest Park, I believe, was one, and they're doing a new trail where there were some new trails ancillary to that, and now we're doing a new one that cuts through, and there's going to be some new trails over by Dahlia Park, and it's actually Dahlia Park. It's actually an old sidewalk that runs between Crooked Lake Boulevard and Dahlia Street.
Okay.
And it's been adequate it was poorly put in for the kids to walk over to Mississippi Elementary and make that trail connection. And then several years ago, we came up with our part of the Fireman's Carnival. They came up with the Firecracker.
Yep.
Firecracker 5K. Now it's also the Firecracker 10K. And what happens is now we end up with hundreds of runners overwhelming that little piece of sidewalk that just runs basically 270 feet or whatever it is. So they're going to convert it from a sidewalk into a trail, and bring it up more to the standards of our trails. So it'll be a nice fit for that day and for the rest of the year for folks using the trail system.
Okay. And then we also had Wintercrest Park, it looked like, some trail reconstruction along with pedestrian curb ramp installations. Yeah,
and anywhere we go in and we start doing the trail constructions, then we're bringing the ramps up to ADA specs. And so, trails were very important, and it's going to be nice.
All right. Well, people like their trails in the city, so it'll be nice to see these improvements. Council considered a joint powers agreement with Anoka County. This is for Highway 10 congestion management planning. This relates to a third lane, which is we've talked about now, I feel like, for a couple of years, and the need for it, and hoping to move this forward here in this legislative session.
Right. So this has been, it's always been kind of considered the low-hanging fruit on Highway 10. Yeah. It's probably the least expensive project along there, and it's going to move a lot of cars. And the reason is because everything was done in anticipation of those extra lanes out there. The bridges were installed wide enough to accommodate them, and if we can get this, and now it's like $25 million, I think it is.
Yeah.
But that'll get the third lanes all the way out to Round Lake Boulevard. So they go as far as Hanson right now, but to be able to get all of the traffic moved out to Main Street and out to Round Lake Boulevard so the folks can get off there and go up Coon Creek to Andover, and it's important. Yeah. So Anoka County has authorized the phase one work on this, which is about $644,000, and they came to us and asked us if we would split that with them, and it wasn't unanimous. We had one dissenting vote, and it took us a while to work up to this, because while Highway 10, it's really a regional asset, most of the cars move through. It also helps a lot of the residents in Coon Rapids get to Main Street, get to Round Lake Boulevard. Right. And as was mentioned, our largest taxpayer in Coon Rapids is Riverdale Shopping Center. And so if this can help that area and help that regional asset that is Riverdale Mall, and then it makes sense.
All right. So this just does some planning for it, essentially, correct?
Yeah, so this is the first phase of engineering for it.
Okay.
And it's really trying to show the legislature that the county, the city, we've got skin in the game. We've got here's the engineering work done on it. Just fund this and we'll get it in.
And it sounded like some of our legislators were on board with, as far as funding, putting this part of the bonding package this year.
Yeah, we have bipartisan support in the Senate and the House. We have bills already filed in the Senate and the House, bipartisan authors on them, and there is a lot of support. And when you talk to the legislators, you'll find almost all of them end up on Highway 10 going somewhere up north, and they all recognize how backed up it gets. Yeah. We have the traffic out here of some parts of 35, and with stoplights, it's just not designed for that.
Right.
So this mitigation, the congestion mitigation, will be an important project through Coon Rapids and to feed all of the future construction going on in Anoka and Ramsey.
Yeah, because there's some projects coming up here in Anoka on Highway 10, right, with a bridge replacement, I believe. I'm not sure which year that's happening, but
2022.
it is. Okay.
Yeah, they won't do it earlier than that because they're doing all the construction on Highway 94 in 2021.
Okay.
And they don't want two of their main corridors under construction at the same time. So in 2022, they'll be replacing the bridge over the Rum River. Yeah. They're looking at doing something with the 47 intersection. Anoka has the funding for eliminating the stoplights at Fair Oak and
Thurston?
Yeah.
Things like that. Okay.
Yeah, you got all these streets down. Yeah. So these are really all big projects that are all designed to work together to just move vehicles.
Yeah. So certainly the third lane is an important component of that, and we should know more. I mean, probably not right now, probably 3 months from now,
right?
When that bonding bill either gets approved or doesn't.
Yeah, and there's some semantics involved because we have to refer to it as a congestion mitigation project because MnDOT doesn't want to do any more expansion.
Okay.
So adding lanes could be considered an expansion. So
definitely would help with congestion, I think.
It definitely would mitigate congestion, yes.
Sounds good to me. All right, that's all we had from our February 18th meeting. We want to move back now to our first meeting of the month, which took place on a normal Tuesday night, February 4th. We did have a presentation there to start us off from the Crooked Lake Area Association. They come in each year and kind of give us an update on what's going on at Crooked Lake.
So the Crooked Lake Association is primarily folks that own property around Crooked Lake. Mm-hmm. And it's a very active group. I mean, they have a lot of participation. They have a summer meeting and a winter meeting, and they have a lot of communication. They have a newsletter. One of the big projects that Coon Rapids and Andover partner with them on is water quality in Crooked Lake. The water quality in Crooked Lake had become occluded or whatever they call it. It was impaired anyway, milfoil and things. Mm-hmm. And so it was an annual project, an annual partnership. Everybody was putting money into trying to clean up the lake. Yeah. And then the DNR said, you know what, we're going to give you permission to really go after it this year. Mm-hmm. And if this doesn't work, we don't know what else is going to happen, but really go after it. And so there was just a real intense effort. A lot of different things were tried, and it really cleaned it up. And now Crooked Lake is like the poster child for the MnDOT, or for the Minnesota DNR, I mean. Yeah. And so they like to come and they thank us for our partnerships. They invite us to visit their meetings and address their association. And it's a very good partnership, and they just like to come in and acknowledge that, and we appreciate them coming in.
All right. We had a couple items under the consent agenda that are related to Wintercrest Park that you wanted to talk about.
So one was setting up a bit of an income stream there. There was, they wanted another cell tower to get better coverage. Mm-hmm. So we leased out an area down there, and there will be another antenna going in. It's a pretty good revenue stream. I don't have it here. I think it's like $30,000 a month or something. Okay. It's good. But then there's also going to be some construction down there from the Coon Rapids Baseball Association. In that we authorized that they go ahead and put in new pitching cages down there. Okay. And that's great because they've been operating for about 25 years. Yeah. This is the organization that handles all the kids. Once you get out of Little League, in Coon Rapids is all about Little League. We have all these great, these great programs in Little League. And then when the kids turn 13, they go, now what? Well, this is the organization. They've been there for 25 years. Great coaching, great teams, and they needed some new cages. So they're going to fund them, but because they're in a public space, they also have to work with public scheduling. Yeah. And so it's a nice operation.
All right. Council adopted a resolution accepting plans and specs. This is for the City Center roof replacement. This sounds like a big project that will be taking place this summer. 61,000
square feet of roofing. That's a big project.
Yeah.
And and when you do roofs on commercial buildings, you're also dealing with the mechanics, with the mechanicals. You're dealing with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So the engineers figure it's going to be about $1 million, and we're just hoping we get some good bids in, and we'll get that done this year.
All right. City Hall, it's amazing that it was built in 96, I believe, is when we moved in. So it's been
25
years almost going on. And if you haven't been there lately, they've kind of redone some of the flooring when you walk in. I know they've replaced the doors. So it's just kind of at that age where these things kind of need to be done.
Well, yeah, I mean, it gets a lot of use, a lot of traffic, and if you don't stay on top of it, it gets real tired looking. And that's not how you want your city represented.
Yeah. All right. Council considered appointing, or approved appointment rather, of election judges and salaries. This is for the presidential nominating primary. Folks don't know yet, we're actually going to the polls on Super Tuesday here in Minnesota for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I don't recall historically if we've ever done this, but I know as long as I can recall, it's been the caucus system.
Yeah.
They're still having caucuses. That's where you establish your party platforms and things like that. Yep. But for as far as actually making your choice for president, we're going to be part of the Super Tuesday election, yep. And we need election judges. Yep. And the city clerk would love to talk to you about it. So go to the website and sign up.
Yeah, they still need election judges, and they're really pushing student judges this year. She'd like to get 1 or 2 in each precinct to kind of help out and kind of for the future of election judges as well, because some of our election judges will be retiring in the next decade, I imagine. And always good to have the young up-and-coming folks there to replace them, because we'll need people to administer elections, from here on out.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of them are retired.
Yeah. Even more. Maybe they're going to move south. I don't know. But she seemed concerned.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way to get the kids involved in the election process and then expose them to that. And
well, and everybody talks about how they enjoy the day. They enjoy their time doing it, interacting, and so. And it's not voluntary. You actually make a pretty decent wage for the day too. I don't recall what it was. We authorized that at a different meeting.
Yeah.
But.
So we're set there. If anyone's interested, contact the city clerk and get out and vote on Super Tuesday, which is, I'm not even sure the date, but it's the first Tuesday in March.
Right, which means our first city council meeting will be the first Wednesday of March.
Yeah, and polls will be open normal like they are for elections, so 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And for folks that can't get out there on election day, you can vote absentee right now.
Yep, yeah, there's folks waiting for you right now at the city clerk's desk.
Yeah. All right. Council approved assessment agreements and waivers. This is for the Northdale Boulevard traffic signal and intersection improvements, something that is much needed up there in the Riverdale area.
It really is. It really is. So a couple of years ago, it kind of started with a big store that wanted to come to town. Yeah. And the only space that we could figure out that would work for them would be that Sears space. Mm-hmm. And that Sears space is still empty, and it's just a huge retail box that they haven't filled yet. Mm-hmm. So we hired SRF. We contracted with them to do a study on the whole Riverdale everything, down from the Target down there through the Riverdale complex up to the Riverdale crossing by Walmart, to tell us what would make traffic flow through here better. Mm-hmm. What would make somebody want to go in and rent that big box in the middle of Riverdale? How can we make that work for other stores and things? Part of that study was how to better access Costco, better ingress and egress out of Menards. And so now that Famous Dave's, that corner there, the owner has come and they said they want to tear down that restaurant. They want to build a new strip mall and a new bank there. We're hoping Famous Dave's is going to come back. There's going to be a restaurant there. Yep. There's no lease signed, but it sounds like that's going to be Famous Dave's again. But that whole thing is subject to reconstruction of that intersection, adding stoplights, adding traffic controls at Costco. So right now when you come out of Costco, there's 4 signs that say no left turn. And that was a big deal to get those put in many years ago.
Right.
But inherently, people ignore those.
Right.
And there's just nothing more frustrating than pulling up and waiting for somebody to go left, and you're going, "Oh, come on," But even if they do follow the law and make a right there, they have to go all the way down to Main Street to make a U-turn to go back the other way. Yeah. So now we're adding this in between stoplight, this traffic light. So it should make it a better spot for making their U-turn. And then the traffic controls at Costco will not allow them to make a left turn. It's actually going to be a controlled intersection, so you can only go left in and you can only go right out coming from the south.
Okay, but there's still it's not going to be a right in, right out, to your knowledge? You're still going to be able to turn left?
Oh, no, you're still going to be able to turn left.
Okay, there was talk previously about making it a right in, right out, or maybe even moving that point north, north of the gas pumps or south of the gas pumps.
Well, yeah, and that part of that traffic study showed some different options there. Okay. But for now, and maybe there will be another change later.
Yeah.
But for now, it's just going to be some traffic controls at the actual corner in the island. You'll be able to make a left turn in.
Okay.
You'll be able to make a right turn out. You'll be able to make a right turn in if you're coming from the north. But it's going to impede somebody that wants to make that left turn because it backs up the cars in the parking lot so terribly.
So if you try to make a left turn, you're going to have to do it over concrete.
Right. Right. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, we might still see it. But so in any case, so the light that was going in will actually be right at the entrance where you go into Menards right now, or McDonald's, or Famous Dave's.
Right.
So that's where the traffic light would be going in.
Yeah. And if you watch folks now, I mean, now what you see is they don't go out that way because it's so congested. Yeah. They go out on Main Street and then they fight across traffic to make a U-turn out there, or they, guilty.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it improves traffic flow in the area, and it's like you said, maybe it's just a start. Do this, see what else maybe can be done or needs to be done down the road.
Yep. Yeah. We have the whole study done.
Yeah.
Here's how to do it best if you're willing to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I imagine this traffic signal will be going in sometime this summer.
Well, yeah, because that whole project is subject to the traffic controls going in. Okay. And what this was an agreement from Costco, Menards, and many of the other businesses up there to participate in funding that traffic, the traffic reconstruction. So that's a big deal.
All right. Council adopted a resolution authorizing 2019-2020 insurance renewals. Sounds boring, but we like to talk about this because
we like to remind folks to buy sewer backup insurance.
Yes.
Because even though the city has it, it's only going to cover up to $10,000, which doesn't go very far if what comes up through the floor gets into your finished basement. Yeah. So it's a big deal.
All right, and it's something you do have to add on to your policy if you want it.
It's a rider. It's not very expensive, and you are going to be very happy you have it if that sewage ever backs up.
Yeah. All right. That is all we had that we wanted to talk about there. We wanted to quickly remind folks that the front door program, our curb appeal program, the deadline to sign up for that is coming up.
March 1st. Yeah, March 1st. It's really an exciting program. Last year we invested, I think, $180,000 in grants for over $1 million of construction projects and improvements. Yeah. So it's a great way for folks to get their homes fixed up.
Yeah, and this is for things that people can see outside, right, from the curb, essentially.
Driveways, front doors, things that will increase your curb appeal. Yeah. Because if you get your home fixed up, the neighbors go, oh, hey, ours actually seemed okay, but now when I look at that, so it has this ripple effect. Yeah. It excites people to invest in their homes.
Good program, and we can't do anything better than what? Free money, right?
There you go.
All right. And while we're on that topic, the annual Home Improvement Show is coming up here in March.
Saturday, March 14th. Is that the Saturday?
Yep. 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's at the Andover YMCA. Lots of resources there for folks looking to do home improvements as well.
Yep. All the contractors, all the Home Depot. I mean, everybody that has anything to do with home construction in the area sets up a booth, and it's just a very fun and interesting event.
Yeah, and it's sponsored by local cities. Coon Rapids is included, and staff members are usually there to answer questions too about a lot of the home improvement loan programs that we have here in the city too.
Yep. And it's a great opportunity for folks to interact with our building inspectors, and with our staff that run this front door program and in the Home for Generations program. And
all right. Well, we are out of time. I appreciate you being here today and talking to us.
Okay.
Thank you at home for watching. We'll see you back here after our meetings in March.